Hello dear friends of spaceflight, it's been a while and a lot has happened since the last video, so let's get right to it. There are some pretty interesting news regarding Starship, namely that SpaceX intends to build a launch pad in Florida. This could actually turn out to be the second Starship launch pad there, so let's have a look where these launch pads will be built. Then of course we also have to talk about Elon's remarks regarding a possible SpaceX bankruptcy. What on earth is going on in his mind? And then of course we have some further delays. SLS will really not surprise anyone anymore, but the James Webb Space Telescope is also really turning into a farce by now, with another delay. Oh, and NASA awarded 3 companies to build commercial space stations. There's a lot to talk about, so stay tuned. So, Starship is getting new launch pads. It was clear that launch complex called Starbase at Boca Chica would not be enough to frequently launch Starships to space. Even more so since the current draft version of the FAA environmental review for the SpaceX site only foresees a maximum of 5 orbital launches per year, at least in the early years of Starship flights. That is of course absolutely not enough, since even the lunar Starship, for example, will already need more tanker refilling launches for a moon mission, namely around 8. So we knew that SpaceX will need more launch pads elsewhere. Plus there's still the issue of the pending FAA approval, which is expected by the end of this month, but there is still a small chance that Starship launches from Boca Chica will be delayed even further. So other options are needed, first as a backup plan, but then long-term also as additional capacity in order to increase the launch cadence. Now for one, we have the 2 sea launch platforms, Deimos and Phobos, which will enable Starship and Super Heavy to be launched from sea. But this would still fall short of Elon's plans to build a sustainable city on Mars by the year 2050, because as many here know, that will need thousands of Starships flying to space on a regular basis. And one cannot achieve that with only 3 launch site options, so SpaceX is of course building 2 further launch sites. We knew already from stormwater drainage permits that SpaceX plans to build a Starship launch site at Space Launch Complex 40 of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Elon even confirmed this in a tweet. This is already some pretty huge news, but even bigger news has come in, namely that SpaceX has started to build an additional Starship Super Heavy launch pad at the most iconic launch site ever, namely at Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 39A, as Elon said in a tweet on December 3rd. This is the launch complex where SpaceX is already launching Crew Dragon missions to the ISS with Falcon 9, and it is the launch complex where the Saturn V itself took off from 1967 to 1973 during the Apollo missions and Skylab. Elon also hinted at an improved ground systems and tower as compared to Starbase Texas for the Starship launch site at Kennedy Space Center. So these are some really exciting news, and it would mean that if SpaceX gets approval for Starbase Texas, that Starship would be able to launch from 5 different locations, which would be really excellent, as a lot of Starship launches will be required for manned missions to the moon and later to Mars, in order to make humanity multiplanetary, as Elon likes to say. So the 2 Starship Super Heavy launch complexes are really important and will play a big role in achieving this. And if you don't want to miss any important space news developments, please subscribe to this channel. Thanks a lot. These are some really excellent news, but then we unfortunately also have some semi-bad news, namely that Elon seems to be extremely unhappy with how Raptor engine production is going along at the SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Now why would he be unhappy about that? Well, as you know, the Super Heavy rocket alone will have in the first iteration 29 Raptor engines, and then Starship will have 6 additional Raptors, 3 vacuum and 3 sea level ones. So 35 Raptor engines for a full Starship Super Heavy stack. Later this number will even be increased, as SpaceX plans to upgrade the Super Heavy at some point to an insane 33 Raptor engines in order to increase the Super Heavy's LEO payload capacity to 150 metric tons per flight in reusable mode, which is quite frankly insane, and even higher than the Saturn V. In expendable mode, that figure would even be 250 metric tons, almost twice as much as the Saturn V. To make it even crazier, Elon teased that Starship will also be upgraded at some point to 9 Raptor engines, so an incredible 42 Raptors for a single Starship Super Heavy stack. Now this is really impressive and all, but imagine now that even in the base configuration of 35 engines per stack, what would happen if SpaceX would lose a Starship and Super Heavy? And make no mistake, they will lose Starship and Super Heavies, especially in the early test flights, because stuff always goes wrong in test flights. So every time they would lose 35 Raptor engines, which will put a heavy drain on the company's resources if engine production isn't super fast and if it isn't streamlined, with the engines getting successively cheaper and faster to build. SpaceX is building a new factory at its McGregor, Texas test site for large-scale production of the next generation Raptor 2 engines, but for now it is building Raptors only at its Hawthorne, California headquarters. Elon said back in July that the McGregor facility will be able to produce 2 to 4 Raptor engines per day, but there is no word yet on when this factory will be fully operational. Elon said at the National Academies of Sciences and Engineering meeting on November 18th, during an online interview, that, quote, "the engine build rate is currently the biggest constraint on how many vehicles we can make," end quote. SpaceX plans a dozen test flights in 2022 and beginning of commercial operations for Starship and Super Heavy in 2023. He added that, quote, "what it comes down to is that we face genuine risk of bankruptcy if we cannot achieve a Starship flight rate of at least once every 2 weeks the next year," end quote. He says this because Starship will be absolutely crucial to deploy the Starlink V2 satellites that are financially strong as compared to the Starlink V1 satellites. So now basically he called upon the SpaceX employees to go to Hawthorne, everyone who can, and to fix this Raptor production hell. Whereas back in the days of Model 3 production hell at Tesla, he will be spending a lot of time at the production lines in order to ramp up the engine production to the necessary levels. That is why he said that the future of SpaceX depends on the Raptor production lines, because SpaceX's business model will heavily rely on Starlink, and Starlink in turn will heavily rely on Starship, and Starship in turn will heavily rely on the Raptor engines. I personally see the probability of SpaceX's bankruptcy as really extremely low, sub 1% level to be honest. I think that Elon is exaggerating in order to motivate SpaceX employees to solve the Raptor production problems. So I think that the situation is not as insanely bad as he made it sound, and we all know that the Model 3 production hell was also solved, and now the Model 3 is the most successful electric car on the planet, so I'm pretty confident that SpaceX will be able to spool up Raptor engine production so that many Super Heavies and Starships can be built for us in order to become a truly spacefaring civilization. And talking of Starship, if you want to have your own Starship or want to give Starship as a gift to someone now that Christmas is approaching, there is no better way to get one than from Bohemso. On their Etsy store site, link in the description, you can order lots of different Starship models. We have them all and we can tell you the quality is awesome. For example, this one here, the classic Starship Crew version. Or of course the Starship Moonlander. Bohemso has them all and many more excellent 3D models of rockets or spaceships from famous movie franchises. In other news, there seems to be a problem with an engine controller for the SLS's RS-25 engines. The Aerojet Rocketdyne's RS-25 program manager Jeff Zotti said that, quote, "replacing a line or a component, we're probably talking about multiple days. Replacing an engine, we're probably talking about multiple weeks. On top of that, we have to assess what that does and how that affects the vehicle and the integration activities that are going on," end quote. So this means that the SLS Artemis 1 mission is pretty likely to slip again, possibly to summer 2022. I know this is not really news since everyone basically expected it, but for the sake of completeness I thought I'd have to mention it. What has also been delayed again and again for ages now is the James Webb Space Telescope. This next generation space telescope should have already launched years ago, but since it's being developed by a good old space contractor called Northrop Grumman, a super fast development timeline was certainly not very high on the agenda. More like, how can we milk a few billions more out of NASA? So now the earliest possible launch date is December 22nd. The reason for the delay is, according to a NASA statement, a quote, sudden unplanned release of a clamp band, end quote, that secures the JWST to its launch vehicle adapter, which, quote, caused a vibration throughout the observatory, end quote. Those activities, the statement added, were the responsibility of Arianespace. Well, let's hope that negligence will not happen with this insanely important space telescope, because if this mission should fail, not only would $10 billion of taxpayer money be wasted, but the most important scientific instrument of our times would be destroyed. And I probably don't have to repeat how insanely important the JWST will be for astronomy of any kind, but especially for exoplanet research, as this instrument will be so powerful that we will be able to detect bio or even possible techno signatures from faraway exoplanets in other star systems. So this will be like the holy grail instrument for SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Let us pray that the launch on ESA's Ariane 5 rocket in late December will go as planned. In other news, NASA issued awards on December 2nd valued at more than $400 million to 3 groups of companies in order to advance development of commercial space stations, with the goal of succeeding the International Space Station by the end of the decade. The largest award, at $160 million, went to a team led by NanoRacks and includes Voyager Space and Lockheed Martin. Those companies announced a space station concept called Starlab on October 21st that could be ready as soon as 2027. A second award, valued at $130 million, went to a team led by Blue Origin for the Orbital Reef space station, announced on October 25th. That project includes Boeing, Redwire and Sierra Space, among others, with the goal of entering initial operations in the late 2020s. The third award, worth $125.6 million, went to Northrop Grumman. Their proposed station would leverage the company's work on the Cygnus cargo spacecraft, Mission Extension Vehicle Satellite Servicing Program and the Habitation and Logistics Output Module, which it is building for NASA's Lunar Gateway. Quite interesting developments here, however, we have to say it will be pretty funny when one single Starship in orbit will basically offer more interior volume for astronauts and experiments than probably all these space stations combined. That will be pretty damn hilarious, and we are curious to see what will happen then. So we are not sure that this modular space station design will be really able to compete with space station Starships, but let's see. And now I would like to apologize that we don't upload so many videos anymore, but as some of you know, we now have 2 other YouTube channels. So one is about cryptocurrencies called Sebastian of Moon, where I make crypto predictions that sometimes are not even completely wrong. The other one is a history channel called Majorianus, about the history of the late Roman Empire, something which I have been super interested in since 20 years now and have read countless books on the topic. You can imagine that 3 channels at once is a lot of work, so I have some trouble uploading stuff on a regular basis. Therefore, I would like to ask you, dear viewers, if there are people among you skilled in the art of editing, because that for me is the biggest time drain when producing videos. If yes, I would be happy if you could write an email to this address for the crypto channel and to this address for To the Future, and tell us what you can do and how much you ask per hour or per video. For the Rome channel, I already have an editor now. This would allow me to produce more content for To the Future, as I really don't want to let the channel here die. So thank you very much, dear friends of space, all the best from Jishuan and me, and on to the future!